right, guys, welcome back again. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the hiring process. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the polls from this past week between OC spray and getting tased. And I'm of the opinion that getting tased was probably the worst thing I've ever experienced. I'd much rather get pepper spray any day of my life. Pepper spray was it was an inconvenience, but I could still move. I could still see. It hurt to look, but I could still see. And after 30 minutes and washing my eyes out consistently, it was all over. So, but pepper spray or getting tased, it was just, even though it was over in 5 seconds, that psychological trauma of getting tased was, man. So, anyway, and also with the traffic stops, I'm going to go over that. I did it initially and mapped everything out and figured out it would take probably 20 minutes. So I'm just trying to get that down. But I just also want to do it right. So that's my biggest thing. So let's get right in the hiring processes. So you want to be a law enforcement officer. You see in the current state of the United States, and you want to be the positive change, or you just want to know, how to please get jobs. You know what what's going on. This doesn't make any sense, or maybe you're just one of those defunders that just want to know what you're actually defunding and maybe whether or not it'll have a positive or negative effect. But let's talk about it. So, your initial contact, you see a job posting for a police officer recruit, and you say, "Hey, I want to be a police officer." You're gonna apply. You're gonna send your resume. What they're gonna be looking for, just some life experience. I've seen it's kind of moving towards bachelor's degrees, but that's not a requirement. But it's definitely something that'll help out. Maybe get you a pay boost in some places, and also maybe promotion, speed you up to two promotions in other places. But it's not necessary. If you want to work for a sheriff's office, the way in my opinion, from what I've seen from the local sheriff's offices, is be a detention officer first, but it's not necessary. So, congratulations, you're on to the next step. In my particular department, they do things kind of backwards in other departments, but then after that, you're going to have a brains assessment. That'll take about 90 minutes, and that's pretty much just me a 90-minute questionnaire of all kind of crazy things. Then it'll be an F3, which is going to be a 2-hour thing, and that will be about your criminal past and everything of that nature. This F3 kind of follows law enforcement, so you kind of want to have a copy of it or be able to access it online again. So congratulations, they like the results. Then you're on to the open house, and pretty much the first thing you're going to do when you get to the open house is you're going to have a IQ test. The IQ test, pretty much if you can read and did moderately okay in high school or good in high school, you're going to be fine. So then after that, you're going to be able to talk to an array of different officers that work for the department who are there that day, ask some questions, and pretty much they can impart knowledge on you. Then after that, you're going to have your first initial meeting with the investigator, and he'll look over your social media and things like that. And he asks you some questions, other things, and just so kind of the initial start of your background investigation. And during this time, you're going to give him the packet in which you've been told to gather these different forms. So your first form is going to be a birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, high school diploma, college degrees, transcripts, any military forms, that records that you have, any letter explaining any bad debts or outstanding debts that you might have. Also, you're going to need criminal and driving records of every place that you've lived in. I'm not from North Carolina, so that was a little bit hard to get, but it's a part of the process. So then you're going to have another psychological exam, again, because it's a big part. You don't want to give someone who's maybe mentally unstable a gun and a badge. I mean, they obviously wouldn't make it through BLET in the first place if they were, but you don't want to waste their time. So then you're going to meet back with your investigator. They're going to probably hit you up in around 2-3 weeks, and then they're going to conclude their investigation by coming to your house. They're going to want to talk to your significant other, if you live with them, your parents, or your roommates, and they're pretty much going to ask them all kind of questions. They're going to ask you questions in front of them. They're going to ask you to leave, and then they're going to talk to your family or friends alone. Pretty much, if it's a significant other, they're going to ask, have they ever put their hands on you, their opinion of you, and try to gauge whether or not you should be a police officer at that particular department. And also, this process takes around 3 months. I don't want to forget you. It could take 3 to 5 months, or maybe even 6. It just depends. So, congratulations. The investigator loves you. They think that you'd be an asset to the police department, and your next step will be a panel interview or an oral board. It could be with the lieutenants of your particular department. It could also be with the captains, or it could be with the chief, depending on his involvement. So it'll be good. They'll ask you all kind of wild questions. If you pulled over your mom, would you give her a ticket? If you pulled over a pregnant lady, what would you do? Or a pregnant lady on the way to the hospital to give birth, what would you do? And they're going to want to know what you would do. They know that you're not a police officer, but you're going to have to, imagine that you are and just give your assessment. And I'll give you a hint with those type of things. Just stand your ground. Keep whatever answer you did, just be able to defend it and don't waver on your opinions. And also, as a police officer, you don't have to give tickets. That's not something we have to do. Even, I want to say, troopers don't even have to give tickets, but I know they have, underlining sources. So that's all I'll say about that. But anyway, so, congratulations. They love you. You made it through the oral board. And the next step is they're going to extend a conditional offer to you. So, this conditional offer is pending on the results of your psychological exam, another in person psychological exam with an actual, mental specialist or psychologist. I'm sorry. So, then you're going to then have a medical exam. And then also you're going to have your police officer physical agility test. That will be something it's not too hard. I've seen a lot of people who are not in the best shape complete it. And then you're going to have a drug test. The drug test, obviously, you shouldn't have anything in your system. I mean, you've had quite some time. No, also in your F3, you should have answered truthfully. And I want to say it should be like a year for marijuana. I know it used to be a lot longer than that. It used to be like 5 years, but things have changed. Um, and then your final step is going to be your polygraph. In other departments, it may be jumbled around. Your polygraph may be sooner, but at my particular department, the polygraph is last. Polygraph, they're going to ask you things from your F3. Pretty much, they're going to know. And your biggest thing is you can't contradict yourself. That's why it's important that you're truthful from the very beginning. Tell them everything. And obviously, if they don't want you from something you did, then you wouldn't have made it this far in the first place. So, the polygraph can take anywhere between an hour to 4 hours. I've been through two polygraphs. One took 4, the other took 1 hour, and the 4 hour one was, as you can imagine, very draining, and it was a lot. But I mean, I passed through it, but it was a lot. So just be prepared for that, and that's it. Congratulations. Then you get the final offer, and you made it through. So uh, some of the bigger departments in the area, I know that some people are watching, especially other law enforcement officers, and they're like, "Oh, that's not how we did things," and they're correct. Some people do things backwards. They do all the physical stuff first, or pretty much the whole thing that I talked about could be in reverse, and that's how they do things. That's just how these. I mean, every department does things differently, but the steps in this general area, or really the whole state, are pretty much the same thing, give or take, minus a few steps, maybe minus a few psychological exams. So, and that's pretty much it. So, the next video I'm going to talk about is after I do traffic stops, will be the militarization of police. I know a lot of you guys are wondering, why do these police officers have AR-15s and ballistic helmets and plate carriers and maybe armored personnel carriers? And I'd love to explain to you why that is the way it is. So, like I said, pretty much every video, don't always believe what you see in the media. Don't always believe what you see, especially on other social media. A lot of people talking that don't know what they're talking about. Don't be afraid to ask. I don't want you guys to look dumb and believe something that's just a flat out lie. Don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask, especially if you have questions about the hiring process. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching.